Welcome, friends. I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. Welcome to Sunrise Yin. So, what we're going to do today is work through our shoulder sequence. What I think you'll need for props to get the most benefit out of and enjoy your practice are a mat. I recommend a blanket, a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, a nice substitute can be like a couch cushion or something that's got a bit of resistance for you. I'd like you to have two yoga blocks, and I'd like you to have a strap. Now, a strap is a tool that it's not an expensive tool, but it's one that for some practitioners they don't use very much. They don't have one. If you don't have a strap, that's fine. For everything that we're doing today, you could use a belt or a towel. So pause your recording, gather up your props, roll out your mat, and then press play when you're ready to get started. And I'll meet you on your mat for our Sunrise Yin shoulder sequence. And I'll ask you to get started in a seated position. So for me, that means a supported seat. But for you, it may not need to be supported so much. And this is not typical for a yin class. We're going to start with just a little bit of gentle movement of the upper body to loosen up the neck and shoulders a little bit. So let's start with some neck rolls. On an inhale, press down into your seat, grow out of your heart and the crown of your head for the stars. Exhale, release your chin down to your chest as far down as you can comfortably go with it. And then inhale, sweep your chin up towards your left shoulder. Exhale, release your chin to your chest. Inhale, right. Exhale, your chin to your chest. I'll just call this center. Inhale, left. Exhale, center. Inhale, right. Exhale, center. Inhale, left. Exhale, center. And one last time. Inhale, right. Exhale, center. And then on your next inhale, draw your chin up neutral so it's level with the earth. We'll do some shoulder shrugs. So on an inhale, bring your shoulders up from the front, up by your ears. Exhale, roll them down your back. Inhale, up in the front. Exhale, roll them down back. Same MO. Inhale. Exhale. And then find an apparent pause, and we're going to reverse direction. The shoulders will come up in the back, down in the front. Inhale, up from the back. Exhale, shrugging around the front. Inhale, up from the back. Exhale, down the front. Inhale, up the back. Exhale, down the front. And then find an apparent pause again. Feed your right arm across the front plane of your body. Catch your right wrist in your left hand. And just apply a little bit of gentle traction, drawing the fingers of your right hand further to the left. Now, if you prefer, you can also catch your left tricep in the right inner elbow crease. It's basically the same stretch. It's an inferior capsule stretch. I do find a little bit different sensation when I use that left hand and try to apply some positive traction. But that's not the right way. It's just one way. Reach your right hand back down to your lap. We're just going to change sides. Feed your left arm across the front plane of your body. And either catch that left wrist in your right hand or catch your left tricep in your right inner elbow crease. But either way, guide the fingers of your left hand further over to the right. Release your left hand down by your waist. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, release the arms down, right arm under your left, and either grab opposite shoulders or wrap the arms, eagle arms, go palm to palm. If you choose eagle arms, lift your elbows up close to shoulder height and then press your forearms forward. Start to unwind. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. And as we exhale, we'll just change sides. Left under right, you're grabbing opposite shoulders or palm to palm, eagle arms. So we're going to do two poses today where we have um, versions of archer arms. So what I would say about that is I would go within your range of motion and within your comfort level. I think for most bodies, doing one pose like that is just fine. Two might be a lot. So know that you could throttle that back and make it fit your body and your needs for today. Unwind your arms. Maybe just one last time as a reset. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, slice your hands down into heart center. Take a moment, set an intention for your practice. And then we'll move into a puppy dog pose with the option of reverse namaste hands. So I'd like you to have two blocks close by, maybe not to use immediately, but for deeper into your practice. And I would place those two blocks close up toward the top edge of your mat. And then from here, tabletop, come down onto your elbows. And then as you leave your hips floating over your knees and lower your heart and your head down toward the earth, maybe drop your thumbs back between your shoulder blades. I'm gonna offer one opportunity to add sensation. And what I would say is I would treat this like any other transition, right? I feel comfortable doing it in my body and I feel comfortable cueing it, but do it with care and intention. If you wanted to add sensation, lift up for a moment, place your blocks where your elbows were, and then elbows back down to your blocks. And this will give your heart and your head another, what, 3 or 4 inches of lift down which they could float toward the earth. The shoulders are such a common area for us to hold and carry our tension. And if we look to imagery like mythology, the imagery of Atlas holding the globe on its shoulders, most of us often, thankfully, are literally carrying the world, but it can really feel like that. So we look for our chronic tension and pain points. Among them, we would have to include jaw, neck, and shoulders. And it's a bit of a complicated joint. It's a ball and socket joint like the hip, but unlike the hip, it's got this really broad range of motion of movement. So the basic range of motion of the hip is really a broad, wide range of movement, which allows us to do some really cool movements from a human movement standpoint. But it also makes us potentially vulnerable to injuries. Right. So to come out of this, start to rock forward, rock the crown of your head forward until you have weight in the forearms. Now, I chose the blocks, so I'm going to slide the blocks out of the way and then slide forward until your hips come down to the earth, set up into Sphinx pose. And you can lengthen the legs out long first, maybe engage the tops of the feet, and then relax everything from the waist down. And maybe even place a block in between your wrists and release your forehead down to that block. So particularly common areas like pain points with respect to the shoulders in terms of injuries, there's this bundle of four muscles that all come together in the shoulder, the rotator cuff complex. These tears to those bundles of tissues, it comes up for people a lot, and it's a little bit aggravated. Sometimes this condition called impingement can come up where the bones in that part of the anatomy, um, especially with shoulder extension, like the movement of the arms reaching up overhead, the bones can start to pinch that soft tissue. So when they're pinching it, they're biting into that muscle. And so, like practices like yoga, we can work through impingement, but what I'm learning is it's almost never skillful to work through it by pushing through the pain. That pain in the case of impingement, that pinching sensation of the tops of the shoulders is literally the bones biting into that muscle. So my parents have some friends, as you know, they live in Florida, and they have some friends who have a wealthy son, and their wealthy son has a place in South Florida, and so they go every once in a while with their friends down there, and I'm using air quotes here to work on the house. And what they're doing, I think, is partying. So there may be a little bit of work that needs to be done. But the last trip down, they were all playing in the pool, and they got out of the pool and were walking into the house onto this tile floor. My dad's feet were wet. So he stepped onto the tile, his feet slid out from under him, and he reached out to grab something to stop himself from falling. And he did this full tear of the rotator cuff in his shoulder. It's a super common injury. Only if you wanted sensation. You can transition from Sphinx into Seal. So in that case, turn the palms of your hands down, turn your fingers out, press into the heels of your hands, maybe even walk the heels of your hands back and closer to your waist. And then once again, check in with your body, whether you chose Seal or you're still in Sphinx, and just feel for gripping. Notice if you've got muscular engagement anywhere that's not helping you maintain the basic shape of this pose, and see if you can find an opportunity to relax that. Seal. Lower your forearms down to the earth. Come back into Sphinx. Switch the block, maybe from the highest height down to a medium height. And we're going to take broken branch. Slide your left hand forward, create a generous base under your left elbow, and then slice your right arm under your chest across the front plane of your body. And wrap your left arm over your right, and then walk, walk, walk the fingers of each hand out in opposite directions. This might be plenty right here. If you have all the sensation you could possibly want, stay right here. 4 more, tuck your toes under your feet, rock the crown of your head forward, and then you can release your forehead down to a block if you're so inclined. And check for gripping. There's really no muscular engagement here. Gravity is doing everything. It's time and gravity are doing their work. Maybe feel for a stretch on the tops, in fronts of the shoulders. Maybe feel for a sense of the space between your shoulder blades gently gliding apart. Tuck your toes back under your feet. Slide your heels back behind you. Unwind, come back into Sphinx pose. And then a setup for the other side will just change from the other side directly. So slide the palm of your right hand forward. Slice your left arm across your chest. Wrap your right arm over your left. Walk, walk, walk the fingers of each hand out in opposite directions and stay right here. Or tuck your toes under your feet, rock the crown of your head forward. From a traditional Chinese medicine standpoint, when I think of shoulders, I think about metal element, in particular lung meridian. And lung meridian and metal element are associated with a couple of things, like the acquired emotion of grief is one, but also the quality of letting go. And so I wonder how much most of us carry around with significant unresolved grief, or we may have difficulty letting go of the things in our life that are bothering us. Maybe grief, but maybe other things as well. So if we can physically release the tension from the shoulders, I believe it makes it a little bit possible to let go of the difficult emotions, or maybe ease some of the grief, or vice versa. By working through the emotions, I think we can address it in the body as well. Tuck your toes under your feet. Walk your heels back behind you. Unwind your arms. And you lower your heart down to the earth. Draw your hands under your shoulders. Press up onto your knees. And I'd like you, if you would, to grab 2 blocks and a strap. And then come onto your shins. Knees, maybe together, or they might be a couple inches apart. But take 2 blocks to start. Place them under your seat. And you can sit down onto the block. Strap close by, but you don't have to do anything with it yet. And from here, just notice if you have more space, you can reach back, you can remove a block. This is going to that's plenty of sensation in my quads here. For you, if you wanted a little bit more, you could also reach back and remove that second block. Take your strap, place it in your right hand. Place your right hand in between your shoulder blades. And then maybe to start, take your left hand to your right elbow. And this is not a very yin-ish cue, but press the back of your head into the back of your right arm. Right, and stay right here, or take your left hand, so the back of your left hand comes to your lower back, find your strap, and you can walk your left hand up the strap. And we're not going to be here a super long time because for a lot of bodies, this is a lot. This is a big ask. But as you notice you've got some space opening up, you can continue to walk your left hand up the strap, up your spinal column. Maybe walk your right hand down your spine from your shoulder blades. You can start to release the strap out of your left hand, slide the back of your left hand to your lower back, and then just transition the strap over the left hand. Place your left hand in between your shoulder blades, and perhaps you start with your right hand on your left elbow. Maybe you stay here the whole time, or back of your right hand to your lower back, find your strap, walk your right hand up the strap, slide your left hand further down your spinal column as you press the back of your head into your left arm. So as I mentioned early in the practice, we got 2 poses where we're going to be using these archer arms today. And if your shoulders are pretty much tapped out from archer arms after this, the next place where we use them, you could do the pose with no archer arms. That's 100% fine, 100% okay. You can start to release the strap out of your right hand. Gently slide the back of your right hand to your lower back. Ooh, release both arms. And then just as a rest and reset pose, make your way into half frog. Again, I'd like you to have at least one block close by, but we're not going to use it right away. So from here, goal post your arms out to the side, elbows in line with your shoulders, fingers pointing toward the top edge of your mat. Rest your right cheek on the mat so your gaze is over to the left. Lift your left knee up in the general direction of your left elbow. From half frog, slide your left knee back down in line with your right. Make your way onto your right side. We're going to do a two pose combination from the right side. So start out in like a right forearm plank with your right shoulder floating more or less over your right elbow. Take the block, take it on the medium height, and I'd like it in your armpit. So sometimes we do like a serratus anterior trigger point release. That's not what we're doing today. So maybe left hand comes down to the mat between your block and the left hand edge of your mat, just so you can slide your right elbow forward and release your head in your hand. Rather, release the right hand side of your head into your right hand. What we're looking for is a subscapularis release. So it's one of the four muscles of the rotator cuff complex of the shoulder. So basically, what to feel for is anywhere like you can relax and allow the pressure of that block, the soft tissues on every side of the block to fall down toward the earth. That's sort of the goal here. With a cold front in Houston too, I think about colds and flus, and I think about immune system. So with the lymph nodes in the armpit, it's not why we're doing it, but some people believe, and I'm one of them, that things like this that give us a gentle massage of the lymph nodes give us a little bit of a boost for our immune system as well. You don't have to change anything. Stay right here. You could also release your right hand down to the mat. Place your left hand on the back of your right hand and then release your forehead down to touch the back of your left hand, to rest on the back of your left hand. Start to lift yourself up. If, for example, if you get your forehead down, you might lift your forehead off. Bring your right elbow back and close to your body again. Lower onto your right side. Reach your right arm out over your head. Put a bend in your knees. Take your left hand to the center of your left rib cage. Grab a handful of ribs. And then start folding your left elbow back, your left shoulder back down toward the earth behind you. Thread your right hand in between your shoulder blades. Now, the only thing I care about here, actually, lift yourself up again. I cued this inappropriately. I apologize. Float the fingers of your left hand up toward the stars. Turn the palm of the hand to face behind you. Good, this is better. Now, drop the back of your left hand to your lower back. Now, fold that left shoulder back down to the earth behind you. Right, with the right hand in between the shoulder blades, really the only value here is a bit of a pillow for the back of your head. But you can start, to the degree that you want the sensation, to slide the back of your left hand higher up your spinal column. I think what you'll find is the higher up the spinal column you go with that hand, the more sensation you'll get in the shoulder part of this pose. And then, of course, the more you lower your left shoulder down to the earth, the more sensation I expect you'll feel in the twist component. Check in with your body. Notice your current level of sensation, and only if you want to add sensation in the shoulders, slide the back of your left hand higher up your spinal column. Only if you want to add more to the twist, you can lower your left shoulder down to the earth. The other tool that's available here, this will be way too much for me, but you could straighten your left leg, and let gravity draw that big toe edge blade of your left foot closer down toward the earth. All right, so to come out of this, if you would start with that left hand, slide the back of your left hand all the way down to your lower back. Lift your left shoulder up, float it over your right. Maybe lengthen your right arm long over your head again. And then however you want to get there, roll over onto your left side. Starting out in that forearm side plank. Slide the block under your armpit, and then right hand comes down between your torso and the right hand edge of your mat. Slide your left elbow out to the side. Fashion model pose. Only if you wanted more sensation. Release your left hand down to the mat between your block and the right hand edge of your mat. Right hand covers your left, and then release your forehead down to the back of your right hand. Start to lift your forehead, to walk your hands under your shoulders, at least enough that you can remove the block. Come back down onto your left side with your left arm out over your head. Float the fingers of your right hand up toward the stars. Turn the palm of the hand to face behind you. Drop the back of your right hand to your lower back. Start threading your right shoulder down to the earth as you place your left hand in between your shoulder blades. If you wanted more sensation, just like the other side, you could slide the back of your right hand higher up your spinal column. You could lower your right shoulder closer down to the earth, or you could straighten your right leg. Start to slide your right hand back down your lower back. Lift your right shoulder up, float it over your left, and then roll over onto your belly. And let's take half frog on the opposite side. So go post your arms out once again. Rest your left cheek on the mat. Lift your right knee up in the general direction of your right elbow. Lower your right knee back down in line with your left. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up onto your knees, and let's set up for either restorative fish, in which case you would take your bolster, place it on your mat so the long edge of your bolster is parallel with the long edge of your mat, and maybe one block on the bolster to support the back of your head. Bottom edge of the bolster, bra strap level, T12 vertebrae. So that's one option. For me today, I'm going to take heart bench, in which we just replace the bolster with a block. Once again, bra strap level, steps down onto the block. Relax the back of your head onto a block at any height. For me, highest height works best. I recommend, if you can, to your arms out to the side. With your legs, anything you like. You can do butterfly legs, soles of your feet flat on the mat, or lengthen your legs out long. So mindful of the props that are supporting you, I'd like to encourage you to move into any final resting shape, which could be right here, staying in heart bench or restorative fish. If you're shopping around and you're interested in a final resting shape that supports the work that we did, I do have an opinion. But this is just one of many options. So you could do this, you could do anything else. And actually, the mechanical action of this is really not different from the heart bench. It just does it from a different angle. So if you like to do a shoulder release, place 2 blocks at the lowest height close to the top edge of your mat so that the long edge of the blocks are parallel to the long edge of your mat. Come onto your belly, place the tops of your shoulders up close to the top edges of the blocks. Release your hands down by your waist, palms facing up, and then just relax your forehead, your face, your neck down to the earth. You could rest your forehead on the mat or either cheek. Swallow 2 or 3 times, and then begin to make some small movements, including a deeper breath. And bring the palms of your hands together in front of your face. Rub them together to warm them. So if you're on your belly, this will be tough to do. Don't worry about it. But if you're on your back, you could do this. And then cup your palms over your eyes. Start here, circle and radiate outward, massaging your whole face and neck. And then maybe tie this all together with a full body stretch. If you're on your belly and you'd like to take a full body stretch, swim your arms forward off the blocks. Come up onto like cupcake or spider fingers up on the tips of your fingers. Tuck your toes under your feet. Use the tips of your fingers to draw the upper part of your spinal column forward. Press your heels toward the back edge of your mat to lengthen the lower part of your spine long. And then roll over onto either side. Find the fetal position. And I'll ask you to spend 3 or 4 breaths here to check in. Notice how you're feeling. So in particular, notice your shoulders and the area around your shoulders. See if you've created and opened up some space for yourself there. But also check in and notice what's the quality of your nervous system now. And press yourself up into any seated position. If you would, one more time, rub the palms of your hands together. Or if you're on your belly, this may be the first time. That's okay too. Your palms are nice and warm. Take the heels of your hands, place them on the bottom of your eye sockets. Then start to tweeze your elbows together in front of you. I'd like you to keep your shoulders floating over your hips, but release your forehead forward into your hands. So a sense of the palms of the hands wholly cupping the eyes. And that strength and support of that triangular shape, your hands, forearms, biceps, triceps making to support the weight of your head and your face. And lift the crown of your head back up to center. You can release your hands. Take your index finger, middle finger, both hands to the center of your brow line. Start tweezing and massaging your eyebrow line from the center, like third eye, out toward the temples. And once you've got about to the temples, you can release there. Take both thumbs, place them in the center of your upper eye socket, and apply a slight upward pressure of your thumbs toward the stars and a slight downward pressure of your chin toward the earth. Bring your chin back to neutral. Release your thumbs, index fingers of both hands. Go to the center of your bottom eye socket, the bottom part of your eye socket. Apply a slight downward pressure with the tips of your fingers toward the earth, a slight upward pressure of your chin toward the stars. And release your chin back to neutral, release your hands to heart center. Thank you, dear friend, for allowing me to guide you through your practice this morning. It's always an honor to move and to breathe with you. Draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for today. Great job, friends. I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness, and this was our Sunrise Yin shoulder sequence. You're doing great. Keep going.